So today we're talking about Maddie Hart, and if you guys don't know that name, it's because she blew up recently over a TikTok, and she's not like a famous person, but as TikTok does, people can blow up over just telling a story time, and that is exactly what happened here. Excuse this messy hair, I put some texturizing spray in, and now I just look like I've like rolled out of bed. Maybe that's the look though. Maybe that is what people want from me. I don't know if this looks slay. Maddie Hart blew up because she told a story. Before I actually get into that, subscribe, hit that bell, and like and comment for engagement. Sometimes I feel like I really skip past that whole thing and I just kind of blurt it all out. I'm not blurting it out today. I want you guys to like and comment for engagement. What was all these hand movements? Anyway, Maddie Hart is someone who told a story recently over her deadbeat dad who left her family to breakdance. But I'm actually going to go back in time a little bit because recently she also blew up on essentially right-wing Twitter because she told a story time of how she went on a date with a guy that's usually not her type. She's usually into like the feminine, in touch with them feminine side kind of guys, and she went on a date with like a bro type of guy, and he started paying for her and treating her in a chivalrous way, and she loved it, and she felt the feminism leave her body.
Guys, I went on a date this week and I felt the feminism leaving my body. I live on the east side of LA, and if you don't know what that means, it's sort of like the artsier part of LA, you know? It's people say it's like Brooklyn and New York. Like, so I go on dates with a lot of men and women who, you know, live over here. There's always a negotiation about who pays, and that's great. I like to pay for people, all that. But what I will say is that I sort of fell into going on a date with the most guy's guy I've ever been on a date with. And he's from West, you know, Santa Monica. He's a bro, right? A guy's guy is usually not my type. Like, I cannot remember the last time that I went on a date with like a straight bro, you know what I'm saying? But it befell me. It befell me in an organic fashion. So I'm on this date with this guy, and the thing about a guy's guy is he's putting his card down. He's paying for everything. And I really it sort of activated something feral in me, I'm not gonna lie. We went to like another bar, and he was gonna go to the bathroom, so I was getting prepared to pay for our drinks because he's been paying all night. Of course I'm gonna pay for the next round, but as he's going to leave for the bathroom, he turns to me and he hands me his credit card, and he goes, "Here's my card, get us whatever." It might be time for me to get away from all these, you know, liberal snowflakes on the east side.
We don't know if these people are going to get married now. It was just a date. But it blew up on right-wing Twitter because people are like, see, women want right-wing men. And that was the whole thing, which was like, women don't want these feminine men. And depending on what you think about that whole situation, it was definitely interesting, and it got 1.1 million likes. It's in her pinned TikToks now. And then she told a story time of how she blew up on Republican Twitter and was featured in Fox News.
Story time! I went extremely viral on Republican Twitter and then ended up on Fox News. This was honestly the most iconic and funny thing that's ever happened to me. So a few weeks ago, I went on a date with this guy, and he paid for all my drinks, and so then I posted a TikTok as a joke that was like, the feminism has left my body because this man paid for my drinks. It was a joke. It was hyperbolic. So I post that TikTok in the morning, and when I come back later in the day, it is blown up on Republican Twitter. Like, Matt Walsh, big Republican guy, I guess, posts this like podcast episode where he's analyzing my video, and he's like, yeah, she's willing to give up feminism when she gets her drinks paid for, but does she have the fortitude to give up feminism and cook and clean for her man and get in the kitchen? I was like, I don't know, Matt Walsh, it was a joke. I haven't thought that far ahead. Matt Walsh has like millions of like followers and listeners and stuff, and he starts the podcast by saying that I didn't use the word befell correctly, which is not true. I know that I used that word correctly, Matt Walsh. I actually pride myself on my extensive vocabulary, so that was insulting. You didn't have to go that far, Matt Walsh. Everybody all day on Republican Twitter is like debating this video of mine. None of them really realize that I'm like kidding. Obviously the feminism didn't actually leave my body, unless you want to buy me a drink. No. Stop, I'm kidding. Unless you buy me a drink. No, I'm kidding. And there's like all of these like Republican think pieces that are getting like churned out about it. Progressive artsy woman says her date made the feminism leave her body. After a date with a guy's guy, one feminism says she is ready to swear off feminism and dating liberals. Okay, I didn't say that. I love this article because it just starts out with, "Aw, feminism." Like, it's so condescending. "Patriarchy is actually pretty great," is the title. This one's maybe my favorite. It refers to me as a smitten lib chick. Smitten lib chick blown away after date with guy's guy. A lot of the articles referred to me as a self-proclaimed comedian, which I felt like that was petty. I make money from this. I'm a proclaimed comedian. This is going on all day. Finally, around 7 p.m., I get a phone call from my estranged father. Like, me and my dad don't really talk. You know, he left when I was little. He's an avid Republican, so of course he is the one to call me. We have not spoken on the phone in about 6 months. He calls me saying, "Oh my God, Maddie, I'm so proud you're on Fox News."
Dating advice from Jesse Waters. So it's Friday night, gentlemen, and you have a date with a beautiful young woman. You pick her up, open the door for her, bill comes, you pay, right? Apparently that's a foreign concept to women today.
I went on a date this week and I felt the feminism leaving my body. I sort of fell into going on a date.
Why is this on national news?
He's paying for everything, and I really...
They go on to bring a dating analyst to analyze my video. By the way, the dating analyst is just like a hot woman. Basically spends so long debating like whether or not like masculinity is dead or not. Also in my TikTok, I say that I'm bisexual, and most of my extended family did not know that I was bisexual. They all saw the clip because they all watch Fox News every night. So that is also how I came out to my entire extended family, via Fox.
It's not her first time blowing up over a story that reached right-wing Twitter, because she reached right-wing Twitter again. Even Elon Musk is speaking out on this, and that's how you know. Now, once again, I'm not making this political. I don't think this is political, but it kind of is. So she tells a story, and it's on 7 million views currently, and she tells a story of how her father left her family to, like, breakdance.
What's a piece of trauma that you have that's funny? It has to actually be funny. I'll go first. My dad abandoned my family when I was 5 years old. That is a wife and 4 kids. He abandoned us and then pursued amateur breakdancing. And he got really good. He like blew up. Like he became like a D-list celebrity status, like viral breakdancer. He became like the oldest actively competing breakdancer in the world. Then he got on Good Morning America and talk shows, and Washington Post wrote about him, and he went super viral. And he did all these interviews, and he danced with Paula Abdul. Here, I'll show you.
To see, take a look at this 60-year-old breakdancer. Yes, 60 years old. Amazing.
That's Ben Hart. He's competing at a breakdancing competition in Philadelphia, and he may not have won, but I tell you what, he is winning over a lot of people on the internet.
Yes.
He really is.
Yep, he's winning over a lot of people on the internet.
This guy wouldn't pay my medical bills. The worst part, damn it, he's good. He should not be able to move his body like that. It's like impossible. It's beautiful. Hey, Dad. Like there was no split custody or anything. Like he just like left 4 kids to do that. He may not have paid for some of my medical bills growing up, but he did give me this breakdancing merchandise. So that's him. He's on his head. Benihana is his b-boy name because his name is Ben Hart. You know, I'll get texts like this, "Happy birthday?" ? And then like links to his breakdancing videos. So if you have funny trauma, like actual funny haha trauma, I need to hear it. Thank you.
And that's the story that she tells. It gets 7 million views. It was on my For You page. And there's just a bunch of comments on this of people telling their own dad traumas. Before I get into kind of the rest of the story time, we have someone said, "My dad went to prison when I was a kid and a judge ordered to send me to equestrian therapy, so I was a court-ordered horse girl." Some of us are horse girls by choice. You are at least court-ordered. That makes you less weird. And I say that as a horse girl. I'm also weird, and it's fine. And people are saying how all the headlines are calling him a breakdancing dad instead of a breakdancing like something-year-old, which is crazy for him being a deadbeat dad. Like, are you even a dad if you're a deadbeat dad? You're just a dad by coming. Calling him a breakdancing dad had to have been a low blow, rubbing salt in the wound. Hold on. No split custody, just splits. People have so much family trauma. We thought my dad died for a whole day because the cops called the wrong family. The next one's hilarious. Hold on. We're breaking up? No, I said I'm breaking it down. Oh my god. You see? Oh my god. My dad stopped taking his meds and he became a Bollywood star. He's a 6'6" Norwegian man. I need to find this Norwegian man. That's what I need to find. Because he won't be hard to find. And then Chriselle from Selling Sunset comments on this and says, I had to be my mum's boss. I had to be my mum's boss at Dairy Queen when I was 17 and had to... and had to fire her for smoking while working at a drive. My dad tried to kidnap me. My dad tried to kidnap me and ran out of gas. Waffling us. When your card declines and in therapy and the therapist starts playing his breakdancing videos. Oh my god. I went in contact with my mum and she broke into my house and left a duck in my garage. My dad became a breakdancing viral sensation and all I got was this t-shirt. I love this, by the way. This is an original experience for sure. Put your finger down if. My dad ran away to join the actual carnival. So why did dad leave? He really likes the tilt-a-whirl. Sending this to my dad, like, why didn't you at least do something interesting like this guy? Not trauma, but I found out my grandpa died in the middle of my dance class and I couldn't leave and had to go back to dancing the barracuda. Oh my god, in foster care mandated therapy. Why did I stumble over every single one of those words? In foster care mandated therapy, the therapist told me I had abandonment issues and then stopped showing up to sessions. I never saw her again. Well, that's great. My therapist ghosted me because she died and no one told me. My ex-husband dumped me when I got pregnant because he felt a calling to be first mate on a sailing ship in Barcelona and never travelled or sailed. I mean, when the sea calls, and you have to answer. And he answered, so we can't really blame him, can we? Anyway, her dad then responds, and I don't even care who's right or wrong anymore. Her dad responds on Twitter in a video filmed what looks to be on a webcam, and he's wearing a Bitcoin-themed shirt.
Okay, I wake up at 6 a.m. to do some work. I get my coffee, I sit down, I open my computer, and what am I greeted with? Well, hundreds of comments calling me a deadbeat dad, a child abandoner, and all manner of other insults. So I think, what's this all about? Well, after a few minutes of investigation, I discover that my daughter, Maddie, has made a video about me. She's a screenwriter in Hollywood. She's also a big social media influencer with millions of followers. Some of her videos get millions of views. And this video has tens of millions of views. 1 million likes, 20,000 comments, 40,000 bookmarks, 30,000 reposts. It's just insane. So I thought I'd better watch this video. And frankly, I was pretty chagrined by what I heard, to say the least. But honestly, the more I watch this video, the more I like it. Well, I like about 98% of it. However, I do need to correct a few statements in the video. And of course, I love my daughter, Maddie. And we get along great. At least I think we do. First, I can see that as a 5-year-old, Maddie would see her dad as having abandoned the family. One day I was living there, the next day I wasn't. And that will look like abandonment to a child. But married couples do get divorced about half the time in America. And I was just living a mile or so down the street in LaGrange, Illinois. We just weren't living under the same roof. Now, about not paying medical bills, that's just not correct. Here was the financial arrangement of the divorce. Maddie's mom, my ex-wife, got $2 million at the get-go, out of the gate, a lump sum payment. Plus, I was paying her $18,000 per month in child support and alimony. This was later reduced to $12,000 per month. And of course, I paid health insurance and out-of-pocket medical costs. I also put $600,000 into the kids' college fund. In all, I paid out about $5 million to my ex-wife to cover costs for her and the kids. And this is in 2005 dollars. So add 50% to account for inflation. In other words, I was not a deadbeat dad at all. And by the way, Maddie did not say that in her video. But a lot of the comments assume that and say that. Also remember that I was living 1 mile down the road from the kids in LaGrange, Illinois. Sidewalks all the way. An easy walk or bike ride. I saw the kids all the time. No abandonment, just a divorce. Was I at fault in the divorce? Yeah, I would say I was about 70% at fault. I own that. Maddie's mom and I were really not compatible in many ways. One other slight correction, which I hesitate to even bring up because I love the way Maddie did this in her video. I did not abandon the family for breakdancing. I have a career. I'm in the advertising business, built an ad agency. That's how I was able to afford to pay Maddie's mom $5 million. Maddie's mom and I separated in 2004 and divorced in 2005. I took up breakdancing entirely by accident in 2012 as a way to get in shape at the age of 54.
Elon Musk responds in support of this man. When you go to this man's bio, he is like a Bitcoin bro, but he's like 60. I'm not age shaming though. We can do whatever we want until whatever age we want. But it is just funny because she's this like artsy fartsy, I don't mean that in an offensive way, this artsy gal living in LA, and she's dating, you know, what seem to be more feminine men. Like she's definitely on that side of the world, and he's just like a Bitcoin bro. And he's got Elon Musk's stamp of approval, which I don't know if we... Phoebe, stop. No one cares. No one cares. And he's got Elon Musk's stamp of approval, which I don't know if that is the approval you want in a story about being a deadbeat dad. Not like I'm making any accusations or allegations of sorts. But I'm making some allegations and accusations of sorts. So maybe Elon Musk's stamp of approval wasn't the best thing in this case for this Bitcoin bro. He responds and says, she says, I left you guys a lot of money in the divorce settlement. I live literally down the road from you guys. Like, I don't know why you're telling this story. It's not true. But he's not slandering her, which I actually do kind of love. Like, I really do. If we're going to say what we respect, I'm gonna do the burger thing where you do like one positive thing, one negative thing, one positive thing. One positive thing, I love his shirt. I love his sense of style. I think it's quirky, cute, and fun. Negative, you have Elon Musk's stamp of approval on parenting, and I don't know if that gives validity to what you're saying. But that's not really your fault. Once again, that's kind of like a lukewarm kind of comment from me. Positive, love that he didn't drag his daughter. Sometimes we see these situations go down where like one person makes a story time about someone that they know, and that person finds out it's about them and responds, and it starts this like drama back and forth because they're just like both shouting at each other. He's being quite respectful, just saying like, I'm so proud of my daughter, I'm proud of all my kids, I love the creativity, we should make this into a movie. And he goes on to like read funny comments, and I thought that was sweet because he could have retaliated in a way that would have just created some family drama, but he didn't, you know, and that's something, definitely. So she then responds, because it comes back to her obviously that her dad responded. So someone says, why do y'all feel comfortable coming online and trashing your family, especially lying about it? Ben seems like a cool guy. Do you just want to be included in a group of people with actual deadbeat dads? And she obviously responds to that because now she's getting this influx of comments saying like, you lied about your dad being a deadbeat. He's not a deadbeat.
I'm recording a quick response to all this. I'll probably delete this in the morning because like I don't actually have like bad will. I posted my video because it's a very funny story. It's very silly. I like to laugh at my trauma instead of like being super sad about it. But I know my dad posted like a 10-minute video or whatever being like, you know, my daughter's lying. We have a great relationship. I have a great relationship with all my kids. That's just objectively not true. Like, guys, we're all freaking out about this in my family group chat right now. We're being like, he's so unhinged and delusional. We don't know if he actually believes his own narrative or if he's lying on purpose, but he's just like a weird guy. Yeah, he said he lived down the street from us. That's not true. Or like if he did, it was only for a few months maybe, but actually for most of my childhood, he lived in Florida with his new wife. Like basically like, I don't want to get into this. Like, again, like my video was basically like sanitizing the situation and like poking fun at the lightest parts of that childhood trauma. But obviously in real life, it was a lot more like complicated and traumatic, and it was really hard. He left us, immediately married another woman. We didn't hear from him for years. And then he would visit every few months and we'd go out to dinner. But like, he truly had no hand in raising us at all. We don't speak with any sort of regularity. He doesn't know when my birthday is. Like, as you guys saw in the video I posted, he got it wrong. He gave us some money growing up. like, I honestly don't know the nitty gritty of the financial situation. I really, really don't. But I do know that several times I've asked him for financial help with medical expenses, like, especially like in college, and he wouldn't help me. So that's what I was referring to in my video when I was like, he wouldn't pay some of my medical bills. I'll probably delete this in the morning, but I'm, 2 hard kombuchas in, and so I feel the need to kind of defend me and my family's like POV. Bottom line is, this guy was a completely absent father. He's like, I was just a bike ride away from those kids. And it's like, not once did any of us ever take a bike ride to his house. I don't think I've ever been in his house ever. So this whole thing is so bizarre. Like, I'm so surprised that he responded to my video, because I'm just like, damn, I could have actually made you seem like way worse than I made you seem. Like, in my video, I just made you seem like such a whimsical, funny guy. Like, but in real life, it was actually a lot darker. So I'm so surprised that he responded to it. And it's obviously kind of hurtful and weird. But again, we don't really have a relationship. So at the end of the day, it doesn't have a huge effect on me. It's just kind of a bummer for my family. And we're all kind of looking at this and looking at his response. And we're just like, this is crazy. If this is actually his narrative, it's like delusional.
Since filming this, I've realized that he has now responded to her response.
This video is a follow-up to my Sunday video on my daughter's viral video trashing me, her dad. Now, I'm not going to go through all of Maddie's points here, most of which are just a repeat of what her mom's been telling the kids for the last 19 years. Okay, so let's roll tape to see what childhood was actually like for my kids. And let's see how my relationship was with the kids even after the divorce. Let me be clear. Maddie is not lying in her videos. She is saying in these videos what she perceives to be true from her perspective. She's expressing her truth. And her perception is impacted radically by 19 years of brainwashing by my ex-wife. I don't want anyone attacking or bullying Maddie for her videos. Her videos express her perspective. I told her almost everyone I know had seen it, including clients. It had the potential to hurt my business, hurt me professionally. And I certainly don't think she meant any harm by her first video. But she declined to take down her video because she said her video had gone viral. So she didn't want to take it down. So I came back a day or so later and told her that I had posted a response video on X. I told her the video response was very mild and very positive. It just corrects a couple of inaccuracies. And at that point, my video on X only had a few hundred views. She watched my video and seemed to like it, thought it was funny. So then I suggested, since you aren't going to take down your video and correct it, I would at least like you to post my response video on your feed. I explained to her that people will love it, predicted that it would get millions of views on her channel, because her videos often get millions of views. I also suggested to her that after my response video, I could fly out to Los Angeles. We could then do a collaboration video, sitting down together and hash out these issues. People would love that, I said, but she declined. So I really had no choice but to put up my response video to set the record straight.
Which, bear in mind, when I watched his video, I got the idea that maybe he thinks, because I don't actually know how much time he spent with his kids, right? And I don't know what the custody agreement was. I don't know how often he saw them. So she's saying he was a deadbeat dad, never saw him, blah, blah. He's saying we had a great relationship. You guys saw me. I gave you a lot of money. I'm sure the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Maybe she, as a kid, wasn't made aware of the custody agreement, and she wasn't made aware of how much money he paid them, if that part of the story is true. And therefore she still harbors resentment, because parents don't tell their kids everything. So a kid will make up a storyline in their head and stick with that, and that will cause resentment in itself, even if it's not necessarily true. So what she felt and what was actually the truth are two different things, because she was a child at the time. And I feel like a lot of people lack nuance when they talk about these things, where it's like, yes, he left money in the divorce settlement, but that's kind of what happens in divorces. That doesn't mean that money gets used on the kids, and I'm sure a lot of kids would prefer to have a stable family home than money from a divorce settlement. So I think he's sticking to like the, I paid you guys money, I lived down the street from you guys, blah blah, but it's not about how far away did you live or how much money did you leave me. Maybe to her it was like, oh, I had my dad and then suddenly I didn't, and then he's on TV and I didn't feel like I could spend as much time with him as I wanted to. So I think maybe they're coming at it from different angles, and I feel like she probably didn't know how much money was left for them as a kid, because that's probably not something you tell your kid when you're getting divorced. There are age appropriate stories to tell, and so she probably has a limited knowledge about the whole situation even to this day, and maybe her point of view as a kid was very different to what the reality was, and it doesn't take away from her story, but also his side adds some context. And I think, like I said, her story's here, his story's here. I'm sure the truth is somewhere in the middle, somewhere there. So she does a reaction and she basically says that he's lying about everything. That's her stance in this now, is like, I said my story, he said his, but I'm saying that he's lying. That's her kind of, I'm summarizing, right? And then in the comments, people are saying the Elon reply and the Bitcoin shirt and flag was all I needed to know. And it's like, that is definitely a part. Like I said, Elon Musk commenting on whether he's a deadbeat dad or not and giving him the stamp of approval in that field might not be the best. I think if you got the stamp of approval from Elon on like becoming a billionaire or creating cars or sending rockets into space, we might take that as a more valid stamp of approval. When it comes to parenting and not being a deadbeat dad, once again, I'm not making any accusations or allegations, but I'm sure there was a bit of drama with Grimes. His other baby mom goes into labor with twins and Grimes just finds out about it as she's going. So like, Elon stamp of approval on this maybe wasn't the shout. And the Bitcoin shirt and flag definitely sets the mood. Him saying they could have come over any time set off so many red flags for me. And that's what I mean, where it's like the things he was saying, maybe to him it seemed like they had a good relationship and like whatever, but they can come over any time. I mean, they're kids. You have to kind of, when you're the parent, you kind of have to set that up, that meeting, you know. They just don't just come over whenever they feel like it. They're not coming over for coffee. They're not like adults. I think when like you grow up and you and your parents are both adults, then it's kind of on the two of you to meet up. But when you're a kid, you kind of, your parents should definitely take charge in being like, I want my kids over, I want to see my kids, blah blah. Maybe she felt like he wasn't making enough of an initiative and enough of a, you know, reaching out of the hand, because he kind of just expected them to like come over. I don't know. For me, it was how he spent more time breakdancing than talking about being a father. I think it's so wild that parents think they can decide whether or not they were good parents. That's not their conclusion to come to, and I completely agree. I think, and just like when you're working a job, it's not down to you to decide if you're doing your job really well. It's down to your boss or your customers or blah blah blah, because you're obviously going to be biased in that sense. So parents can say, I tried my best, I did everything I could, but the actual final, like, were you a good parent or not, kind of is in the hands of the children, because they were the ones living through it. Left a comment saying, him saying I have millions of followers in his video when I have 70k should give you an idea of how he exaggerates. And she obviously talks about that because he does mention how she's got like millions of followers, but she's actually only got 77k, and that's after going viral twice now.
Okay, I'm gonna say one more thing about the breakdancing dad saga. This is not a clapback video, this is not beef, it's something that I have loved that people are not talking about, is that there's a sort of Mandela effect happening in the collective consciousness of the internet right now. In his original video and like in his tweet, my dad had posted being like, my daughter is a famous influencer, she has millions of followers, she's a big social media influencer, and now everybody thinks that that's true. Like nobody fact checked that, like nobody, like everyone's rolling with it, like every news source, every tweet. Like, I'm a small creator. I'm not even monetizing my account yet because I'm too small. I have 70,000, like, love you guys, but like, I definitely don't have millions. And all over his like social media, he's like, my daughter, she's a successful Hollywood screenwriter at Netflix. Don't know where he got any of that. Obviously, I've told him in the past that I am an assistant. Would love that though. Like, he's manifesting that for me. But now, like, everybody's just like talking like that's the truth. Like, Candace Owens just posted a whole like long podcast being like, I'll show you guys.
There was a young woman, her name is Maddie. She is 24 years old, and she decided to go on to, yep, you guessed it, TikTok, to dump some trauma about her childhood. Now, to be clear, Maddie's got millions of followers on TikTok.
Did nobody fact check? Did she not? Did nobody do research into this? It's like everybody is, even the people who hate me are like manifesting great success for me. I'm unhinged and delusional Hollywood screenwriter, spars with breakdancing that, Hollywood screenwriter. Okay, it's not giving assistant anymore. This is some Republican article. Maddie Hart, a California-based comedian with a huge TikTok following. Woo! You guys need to understand this is a huge step up because when I went viral and ended up on Fox News, everybody was calling me a self-proclaimed comedian. So now it's like the tides are shifting. TikTok star. Okay, and this article hates me, but honey, they're calling me a star. Anyway, you slice it, whether you like me, whether you hate me, whether you think I'm lying, whether you think my dad's lying. Maddie Hart, big, famous girl, famous, rich, famous Hollywood writers. Millions of fans.
So clearly she's not someone who's like Alex O. And since then she hasn't posted. This was 4 days ago. Like I said, I'm not defending either one of them. I think parent-child relationships are strained and difficult as is, and then you get divorce involved in that, and I think things really just go crazy. But I think it's down to both parents to initiate spending time with their kids, and I think you can't just say, I live down the road, you guys could have come and see me anytime. It's like, that's not really how this works. It's your responsibility as a parent to see your kids, and just because you left a lot of money in the divorce settlement doesn't all of a sudden mean that you're like done with parenting. But also on the other side of things, maybe she exaggerates some things, I don't know. Like I said, here's her truth, here's his truth. Truth might be anywhere in the middle of that, whether it's more tilting to his side or her side. But I do think a lot of parents have this tendency to just claim that they did parenting really well, and regardless of what the child says, that's just the story they're sticking with, because maybe that's just easier to accept. But anyway, that's that story. I thought it was really funny. As a whole, I'm glad everyone's okay. I think as a whole, this story is quite harmless. Like, I know it sucks that this relationship is strained, and she obviously went through a lot of turmoil with that, but she seems to be dealing with that in a pretty humorous and funny way. So I think all in all, this is a pretty harmless story, and I thought it was just really funny. Subscribe with the bell icon for engagement. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.